Hey, other person on the other side of the screen. I just want to make a video today about how I feel life is like in 2025 as a 22-year-old, you know, um, working a 9 to 5 full time at the school. I'm just up the street. Uh, kind of trying to find my words here, but basically, I ever since I was little, I had like very, younger years, very like low self-esteem, and then I grew up and I was the type of kid that would be rated like a fucking 4 to 6 out of 10 in middle school. Like just nobody really kind of gave a shit about math except for how I made other people feel with like jokes. And luckily, I found my best friends during that time, which is pretty cool. Or some of my best friends, and that I still have in my life today, which I'm really grateful for. And some that are more distant, and that's fine. But yeah, life is really, really interconnected. The way that things work. Carl Jung's take on synchronicities and his version of, Jung psychology, basically. But, finding people that are like-minded at the same place and time where you're at, when it's the right time. Oh God, when it's the right time. That saying is as old as time. Often, think about like a plant, right? You have it in some soil in a small pot, and it grows its roots to the capacity that it can in that pot until it can't hold anymore. It'll never fully mature. It won't die necessarily, but it'll never fully grow. If you keep watering it, it'll stay in that pot and it'll be fine, but it will never actually reach its full potential. So in order to do that, you transition that same plant to a bigger pot and you give it time. You give it resources like food and water and sunlight and oxygen, carbon dioxide. It gives us oxygen. So when is the right time? I find myself asking that unironically most of the time. When is the right time for me to act or do this or do that? And usually there is no right time. It's kind of what I found. There's no right time. There is no time. It doesn't exist. It's just something that we've had to create to I hear this Star Wars theme playing. The like the Empire song. Is that a band? I don't know. I don't know what the fuck is going on down the street. But it's a school though. What was I talking about? Oh, right. Sorry. Get sidetracked. Fucking ADHD symptoms. No, I'm kidding. Uh, so yeah, like making a video like this, you know, we make sacrifice plays for the things that we love, for the people that we love, and for the things that need us to show up. That can be a job, that can be our kids, that can be our family, ourselves, really. I mean, we have to take care of ourselves first. That comes above everybody else. You have to take care of yourself above everybody else before you, because you want to be of service to that other person, to that family, to that friend. You can't do that if you don't take care of yourself. You want to give out of a small pot, that you have already reached your capacity to even grow into, and even if my analogies don't fully fit, I think you understand what I'm trying to say is that, yeah, I've dealt with a lot of crazy stuff during my life. I've lost a parent, I've lost friends, I've grown up overweight and unhealthy to emotionally calculating my calories and systemically kind of like indoctrinating myself into a very strict, militaristic, marine-like mentality when it comes to living my daily life in order to survive, quite frankly. I haven't realized how hard I've been on myself until very recent days, months, weeks, years, but really this past year, I underwent a very intensive spinal fusion surgery. And these are just some examples from my life that I can shed some light on to give you an example of what you may be going through in your life, you know? There's so much stuff that's going on in the world, so much that we don't have control over, so much that we're trying to hone in our ability and focus to really understand what is happening for me right now. No, forget the news. That's external. That's its own perspective or viewpoint. What can I do right now to actually control my situation, you know? Do I need medication to help me as a crutch and not to identify that as shame? A lot of my family, even my most successful family, still deals with mental health to this day because they're older generations. It's common to have that neglected. Now the current generation, although we may be dealing with it more than ever, with mental health, with identity crisis issues, with politics, with economic issues, I don't think the world's ever been more together than it is shown contrast-wise within media and propaganda and that sort of thing. Because at the end of the day, every human on planet Earth wants two things. We want time, we want more time, the thing we can't buy more of, and we want, honestly, more fulfillment in our day-to-day lives. I think that's the most generalized, vague sense of the matter that I can kind of shed light on that for you. It's you and I, right? It's you and I against all odds. It's kind of what my partner tells me. And so you have to realize that when you see yourself in the morning, when you wake up and you want to go check your phone immediately, and I deal with this, we all deal with this. You think you're the only one, really? You think you're the only one that deals with telephone addiction, with dopamine saturation, with, you know, people that are even people in the spiritual community that deal with spiritual psychosis, that just can't get out of the same loop, that literally just needs to cut off their identifying with concepts, as Muji will shed light on in his satsangs and his practices. It's the most easy, basic, straight down the line, no questions asked direction. It's a pointing into ourselves, you know. If we have a struggle to, if we deal with the inability to sit with ourselves because it's just so uncomfortable, but you're aware that it's uncomfortable, then you're doing it. People that are like, I can't meditate, I can't sit, I can't focus, I can't do this. I'm like, well, do what feels like meditate. Do what you feel you can imagine meditation would be like. So do a practice like sketching, talking to a friend, you know, writing, whatever it may be. A creative pursuit is usually the goal, or is usually the easiest thing to get to for myself, but that's not for everybody. So where I find myself in days like this, where I'm blessed with silence, that's it. We're blessed with stillness, with silence. Not everybody has that blessing. You can add to it, you can't take from it. You can't, what I mean take from it is like, you can allow yourself to rest in that emptiness. It's not empty. There's wisdom and stillness, you know. So, no matter what you do, talk about alarms. Forgive me, no matter what you do with like your time, maybe work or art or any kind of pursuit like that, just make sure it means something to you. That's it. Everybody's trying to project a meaning of, oh, well, if you do this, yeah, it'll really do this for your life, and if you do this, none of that matters if you're not fulfilled. None of that matters if it's not adding peace or adding quality or fulfillment into the time that you have here. You got one life. I'm a big fucking superhero fan. I'm a big fucking nerd. But you know, like, and Endgame, you know, Doctor Strange tells Tony, he's like, you know, Tony's basically asking, like, hey, like, can you please tell me? Like, he's like, I've been through hell. He's like, fucking tell me there's like some way out of this, like that we win. And I feel like this is a lot of our human lives. We have gone through hell. We've been dragged through the fucking mud of circumstances. We are begging God or the universe or ourselves or some deity, some idea that's bigger than our own lives. Please, like, just have mercy on my fucking soul. Like, please tell me that this is it. Like, that you're gonna save me this time. And oftentimes, I don't think it's any bigger God or hand out of the sky that necessarily has to help us. It's usually in some way a different version of ourselves that's saying, yeah, this is your shot. Like, this is what it takes. Right here, the thing that you're very much afraid of doing, I want you to chase that thing down. As long as it means something to you. If it doesn't mean something to you, and it was somebody else's projection or idea or expectation or parental standard, you know, something like that, of, oh, you have to become a doctor, or you got to go to school for this, like, then I completely understand where those people come from. And do not get me wrong, okay? I've felt the most cynical of emotions. I have felt the most mundane of circumstances. I have been kicked out of my home in certain ways, emotionally, and yes, circumstantially. I've moved like 3-4 times in the past 3 years. Life goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. It will change after we're gone. It will change while we're here. My suggestion today, as a 22-year-old, the street is loud, that has a lot of time on his hands, fortunately, in moments like these, is do more of what you love. Because, God, we think we have, like, you know, not enough half the time. We're always living in that scarcity of there's not enough money in the bank, not enough this, that, and the other. But you have the attention, you have the awareness, you have the voice. Talk about it. I'm sure somebody will listen. And if anybody's listening to this today, hopefully it helps, because God knows I've needed the help. And I'm very fortunate to say that I've gotten it. And even if I haven't gotten to exactly where I want to be, in every sense of the matter, I'm a lot better than I was. And I know that where I will be in the following year, 6 months, 3 months, 2 weeks down the road will be much better than where I am today. So, like, have faith of a mustard seed. And you don't need to believe in any kind of religious text to understand that we just have to believe in something in our lives to keep going. And if it's the fucking limited edition PlayStation or a Lego set that you got your eyes on, or a nice bag, or a relationship, or put yourself in a place where your hope, your love, your desire, your light is not born on the expectation of something outside yourself that you cannot control. You do your best. That's really it. That's all I got. You guys have a good day. Take it easy.